The night Lena Cross became famous, she thanked everyone except the person who had written every song she performed. I was standing behind the stage curtain with a spare guitar pick in one hand and the speech she had practiced with me in the other. For 4 years, I had played piano while she learned to sing without shaking. I had worked graveyard shifts at a recording studio so she could afford vocal lessons. I had written melodies around the exact places where her voice cracked, and when the host announced her as the winner of the National Rising Voice competition, I honestly thought all of it had been worth it. Then Lena walked onto the stage holding another boy's hand. His name was Adrian Locke. He was the son of the country's most powerful music producer, a trainee idol with millions of followers, and the person Lena had spent the last 6 months insisting was only helping with promotion. The crowd screamed when he kissed her cheek. Lena smiled into the cameras. "There is one more thing I want to say," she announced. "Adrian and I are officially together." My phone began vibrating before she finished the sentence. Friends, classmates, people asking whether I had known. I barely heard them. Lena's eyes found me behind the curtain. For half a second, guilt crossed her face. Then she looked away. After the broadcast, she found me beside the loading dock. Her trophy was still in her arms. Adrian waited several steps behind her, pretending not to listen. Lena held out a laminated backstage pass. My name was printed beneath the word assistant. "You should keep this," she said. "You were my first supporter." I looked at the pass, then at her. "Supporter? You know what I mean." "No, I don't." Her smile tightened. "Please don't make tonight ugly." That sentence finally made everything clear. She was not ashamed of betraying me. She was worried I might embarrass her celebration. I tore the pass in half. Lena's expression hardened. "Adrian can give me opportunities you never could." "I know. He understands the industry." "I know. And I can't keep living inside your tiny plans, Noah. I want arenas, international tours. I want a life bigger than one rehearsal room." I nodded. She seemed almost disappointed that I was not begging. Then Adrian stepped closer. "You should be proud of her," he said. "Most people never get to stand this close to someone before they become unreachable." I looked at him. "Take good care of the songs." His smile widened. "We will." That was the first mistake he made. He thought the songs belonged to Lena. They did not. My name is Noah Kade. At the Halcyon Conservatory, almost everyone knew me as Lena Cross's quiet accompanist. Very few people knew that every song she had released was composed by someone called N. Gray. N. Gray was not a production company. It was me. I used my mother's surname because I hated being photographed and had no interest in becoming part of Lena's public story. The arrangement had been simple. Lena could perform the songs. She could upload them. She could use them in competitions. But the master compositions remained mine until we signed a permanent agreement. We never did. The morning after the breakup, Adrian's label announced Lena's debut album. 8 tracks. 7 written by N. Gray. The 8th was a song I had never allowed anyone to hear in public. Paper Moons. I had written it for my younger sister, Elise, while she was dying in the room beside our old piano. Lena knew that. She had once promised she would never sing it. Now it was listed as the title track of her album. That was when the breakup stopped mattering. I called the label's legal department. By noon, every song written by N. Gray had been removed from the project. By evening, Lena's debut announcement had vanished. At midnight, she appeared outside my apartment. She did not apologize. She demanded an explanation. You destroyed my album. You announced music you do not own. You wrote those songs for me. I wrote most of them while you were asleep. We built them together. You changed 3 words in 1 chorus. Lena's cheeks flushed. Adrian's father already paid for the launch. Then he should have checked the rights. Her voice dropped. Give me Paper Moons. No. I need 1 strong song. Just 1. Once the album succeeds, I'll pay whatever you want. No. She stared at me as if she had never heard the word before. In the old days, if Lena wanted studio time, I found money. If she wanted a new arrangement, I stayed awake. If she wanted reassurance, I gave it even when I had none left for myself. Now the person standing in my hallway still expected that version of me to answer. Lena stepped closer. Are you doing this because I chose Adrian? I'm doing this because you chose my sister's song. For the first time, she looked uncomfortable. Then Adrian emerged from the elevator. He had been waiting downstairs. So much for a private conversation. He placed one hand on Lena's shoulder. Let's not turn this into a tragedy. Name your price. The song is not for sale. Everything is. Then buy some dignity. His face changed. Lena caught his arm before he could move toward me. As the elevator doors closed, she looked back. You're going to regret making an enemy of us. I believed she meant it. I just did not care. The next week was worse than the breakup. Adrian's publicists moved first. Anonymous posts claimed I had controlled Lena's career, prevented her from working with other producers, and withdrawn the songs because she finally escaped an abusive relationship. Old rehearsal clips were edited to make me look angry. A video of Lena crying reached 10 million views. She never directly accused me. She simply said, "Some people confuse love with ownership." That sentence was enough. Students stopped speaking when I entered the conservatory cafeteria. A professor suggested I take a temporary leave. Someone painted "failed boyfriend" across my practice room door. I could have released the contracts. I could have shown years of messages proving Lena had begged me to write every song. I did nothing. Not because I was noble. Because my mother had taught me never to answer noise before I understood who was making it. 3 days later, someone slid a flash drive beneath my practice room door. A note was taped to it. You are being framed badly. At least make them work harder. The drive contained raw security footage from the competition. It showed Lena and Adrian discussing the breakup before the broadcast. More importantly, it captured Adrian saying he did not care about Lena's old songs once they had Paper Moons. He believed that song could win an international award. The person who gave me the drive was Iris Bell. Most students knew Iris as the girl who had walked away from a major label 2 years earlier. Rumors said she was arrogant, difficult, unstable. The truth was simpler. A producer had ordered her to sing through a throat injury during a live showcase. She refused. The label blacklisted her. Since then, she had worked in the conservatory's equipment room, repairing microphones for artists who barely remembered her name. I found her soldering a cable beneath a work lamp. Why help me? She did not look up. Because Adrian Locke was the producer who ruined my voice. I waited. Iris finally lifted her eyes. He told the label I was pretending to be injured. By the time another doctor examined me, the damage was permanent. Her speaking voice was soft and rough. Can you still sing? Not the way they wanted. That was not my question. She studied me for a long moment. Then she turned off the soldering iron. The equipment room had terrible acoustics, concrete walls, metal shelves, a ventilation fan that clicked every 4 seconds. Iris sang anyway. Her range was smaller than Lena's. Her high notes carried a faint fracture, but every word sounded lived in. Lena could make a perfect note shine. Iris could make an imperfect one hurt. Before I realized it, I was sitting at the old keyboard in the corner. I played 3 chords. She followed. I changed the key. She adjusted instantly. 20 minutes later, we had the beginning of a song. Not Paper Moons. Something new. We called it Static Between Stars. Iris stopped after the first verse. I'm not becoming your revenge project. Good. I won't wear whatever image you create. Good. And if you compare me to Lena, I leave. I'm not looking for another Lena. What are you looking for? I thought about the empty space on stage after she walked away. A voice that knows it belongs to itself. Iris looked down. Then she sang the verse again. We did not announce a partnership. We did not tease a comeback. We rehearsed inside the equipment room after everyone left. I rewrote melodies around the part of Iris's voice the label had called damaged. She rewrote my lyrics whenever they sounded like I was trying too hard to be profound. For the first time in years, making music did not feel like carrying someone uphill. It felt like walking beside them. Meanwhile, Lena's new album kept collapsing. Adrian hired famous producers, but every song sounded like a copy of the version of her I had built. The first single was expensive and empty. The second became a dance challenge for 4 days and disappeared. During interviews, Lena kept mentioning N. Gray. Sometimes she called me controlling. Sometimes she said she wished me well. Each time, the comments asked the same question. If he was so terrible, why did your best music come from him? Adrian needed Paper Moons more than ever, so he created one. A month after the breakup, Lena performed a new ballad at the Winter Crown Festival. The melody was different. The title was different. But the bridge contained the exact harmonic progression from Paper Moons. Not similar. Exact. I knew because Elise had tapped that progression against her hospital bed while I wrote it. Adrian had stolen an unfinished demo from Lena's old laptop. The audience loved the performance. Lena cried during the final chorus. By morning, the song was #1. Iris found me staring at the video. You can stop it. I know. Then why haven't you? Because Lena looked terrified on stage. Not emotional. Terrified. Every time the camera moved toward Adrian, her shoulders tightened. Something had changed. I examined the audio from her performance. Beneath the music, just before the second verse, Lena whispered into her headset. That wasn't the agreement. A male voice answered. Sing. Adrian had not simply convinced her to steal the demo. He was controlling the performance. I filed a copyright claim, but I did not release the evidence publicly. Instead, I sent Lena one message. Are you safe? She read it. No answer came. 2 hours later, she posted a photograph of herself kissing Adrian. The caption said, Never been happier. I understood the message. Someone was watching her phone. The Winter Crown Festival invited Adrian and Lena back for the live finale. The winner would receive a world tour and a distribution deal. Iris and I were not contestants. Then the festival's audio director heard Static Between Stars through a technician who worked at the conservatory. He offered us the opening slot. Iris refused before he finished speaking. I am not singing in front of 20,000 people. You don't have to. You want to go alone? No. She looked at me sharply. I closed the keyboard. We keep rehearsing. If you decide no on the day, we walk away. That would destroy your chance. It is not my voice. Something in her expression softened. On the afternoon of the finale, Lena came to the equipment room alone. She wore sunglasses, though we were indoors. One lens could not hide the bruise near her temple. Iris stood between us before I could speak. Lena looked at her. So this is my replacement. Iris's expression did not change. No, I repair equipment. Replacements usually come in boxes. Lena almost laughed. Then she looked at me. I need the original Paper Moons file. No. Adrian changed the festival contract. If the song is disqualified, I owe the label more money than I can repay in 10 lifetimes. Why did you sign it? Because I thought he chose me. Her voice broke. I thought you were holding me back because you were afraid I would realize I could succeed without you. And now? Now I know he chose the catalog. Silence filled the room. Lena removed her sunglasses. The bruise was worse than I thought. He has my mother's house as collateral. He has recordings of me agreeing to use your demo. If I leave, he releases everything and makes me look like the thief. You are the thief, I said. She flinched. The truth did not stop being true because she was finally suffering. Lena stepped closer. Help me one last time. For 4 years, those words had controlled my life. One more rehearsal, one more payment, one more lie to protect her confidence. I looked at Iris. She gave me no answer. That mattered. She was not asking me to punish Lena. She was waiting to see what kind of person I would choose to be. I will help expose Adrian, I said. I will not give you the song. Lena's eyes filled. You would rather sing with her. I would rather let Elise's song remain Elise's. What about us? There is no us. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. That movement hurt her more than any insult could have. I made a mistake, she whispered. No, you made many choices. I can fix them. Not by returning to the person who used to fix everything for you. A stage manager called for Iris through the hallway speakers. Lena looked toward the sound, then back at me. What if she leaves too? I picked up my keyboard case. Then I will survive it without becoming someone else's servant. The finale began 1 hour later. Adrian had planned everything. Lena would perform his stolen version of Paper Moons. The festival would announce the world tour. Then his label would purchase the disputed rights after the song became too valuable to remove. What he did not know was that Lena had agreed to help us. During the first chorus, she changed one word. Moonlight became hallway. During the second, she changed paper into silver. They sounded like meaningless mistakes. They were not. Hallway, silver. The location and color of the hidden recorder Adrian used during contract meetings. Iris's equipment team found it beneath a silver panel in the east hallway. The device contained months of conversations. Adrian admitting he stole my demo. Adrian threatening Lena. Adrian laughing about Iris's damaged voice. And his father ordering staff to fabricate the abuse story against me. We had the truth. But before the files could be sent to the festival director, the power inside Iris's dressing room went out. The electronic lock sealed. Someone had trapped us inside. Outside, Lena's performance continued. Adrian had discovered the missing recorder. The stage manager began counting down to our opening appearance. 90 seconds. Iris pulled at the door until her injured throat tightened and she began coughing. Stop. We're going to miss it. Then we miss it. No. She looked at me through the emergency light. I spent 2 years letting him decide the last stage I would ever stand on. I'm not giving him this one too. The ventilation panel above the makeup mirror was barely wide enough for a person. Iris climbed first. I pushed the keyboard case through after her. We crawled over cables and dust while the countdown continued through my phone. 30 seconds. We dropped into the side corridor just as the host announced that the opening act had failed to appear. Adrian stood near the control booth. The smile on his face told me everything. Iris saw him. Her hands began to shake. I reached for her, then stopped. She had told me from the beginning that she did not need another person deciding what she could do. So I asked, "Do you want to leave?" Iris listened to the crowd murmuring beyond the curtain. Then she shook her head. No. The microphones on stage were dead. Adrian had cut our channel. So I rolled the concert piano to the front of the stage. No introduction, no backing track, no lighting cue. I sat down and played. The audience slowly became quiet. Iris walked into the single emergency spotlight. Her first note cracked. Somewhere in the upper seats, someone laughed. Iris closed her eyes. Then she sang the line again. This time, she did not hide the fracture. She used it. Static Between Stars was a song about all the voices people discard because they are not clean enough, obedient enough, or easy enough to sell. By the second verse, the arena was silent. By the final chorus, people were holding up their phones with the flashlights on. I looked toward the side of the stage. Lena stood there in her silver costume, tears running down her face. Not because Iris had replaced her, because Iris was singing with a freedom Lena had traded away. When the song ended, there was one breath of complete silence. Then the arena exploded. Adrian ordered security to remove us. The main screen changed before they reached the stage. The recovered recorder began playing. His own voice filled the arena. Lena is useful because Noah made people believe she has depth. Then another clip. Iris should be grateful. A damaged singer creates sympathy. She just refused to understand her market value. Adrian lunged toward the control booth. Too late. The festival director had already received the full archive. So had every journalist in the building. His father's label tried to stop the broadcast. Lena walked back onto the stage and took the microphone. For once, nobody had written her words. "My name is Lena Cross," she said. "I used music that did not belong to me. I allowed another person to be called abusive because I was afraid of losing my career. Adrian threatened me later, but that does not erase what I chose before he did." The crowd became restless. Her hands trembled. "I am withdrawing from the competition." Adrian shouted her name from below the stage. Lena looked directly at him. "And I am releasing every contract, message, and recording I have." That was the moment his career ended. Not because I defeated him, because the woman he believed he controlled finally stopped protecting him. The aftermath was ugly. Adrian's label lost sponsors. Several artists came forward with similar stories. The conservatory opened an investigation into the professors who had helped spread the lies about me. My name was cleared. Iris received offers from every major label that had ignored her. She rejected all of them. We opened a small, independent studio in the same equipment room where we wrote our first verse. We called it Unfinished Sound. Artists kept the rights to their music. Medical decisions belonged to doctors, not producers. No one was forced to turn private pain into a marketing campaign. Lena disappeared from public life for 6 months. When she returned, it was not with an album. She posted a single video without makeup, lighting, or music. She apologized to the people she had blamed. She sold her apartment to repay the festival and the musicians whose work had been taken. Then she began singing at small venues under her own name. No backing tracks, no borrowed songs. Most people never forgave her. That was not the point. An apology is not a machine that restores what was lost. One rainy evening, Lena came to unfinished sound. I was alone, tuning the piano. She placed the torn backstage pass on top of it. She had taped the two halves together. "I kept it," she said. "I can see that. Adrian is going to prison. I heard. My mother's house is safe." "Good." She waited for me to say more. I did not. Lena looked around the room. Photographs of new artists covered the walls. In one corner, Iris had written lyric ideas across an entire whiteboard and ignored every line meant for schedules. "You built all of this so quickly." "No. I started building it the night you left." Her eyes lowered. "I thought you would always be there." "So did I. If I had come back before the finale." I stopped tuning the piano. "Do not do that." "What?" "Do not search for the exact day you could have returned and still found the old version of me waiting." Tears gathered in her eyes. "I loved you. I believe you." "Then why wasn't it enough?" "Because love that only survives while one person keeps giving is not love. It is dependence with beautiful memories." She wiped her cheek. "I don't want Adrian. I don't want the label. I don't even want the career I chose over you." "What do you want?" "You." The word came out small. Too late. Not because I hated her. Not because Iris had won some competition between women. Too late because I had finally learned that being needed was not the same thing as being chosen. I handed her the repaired pass. "You should keep this." Her face folded with pain. The same words she had once used at the loading dock. Only now neither of us could pretend not to understand them. Lena left without asking again. A year later, Unfinished Sound held its first public concert. Not in an arena. In an old railway theater with a leaking roof and seats that did not match. Every performer sang music they owned. Iris closed the show. Her voice still carried the fracture. Audiences now waited for it. Before the final song, she looked toward me at the piano. "This one is new," she said. "Noah refuses to tell me who he wrote it for." The audience laughed. Iris raised an eyebrow. "Well?" For years, I had hidden behind another name. N. Gray, the quiet accompanist, the person outside the spotlight. I looked at her and answered into the stage microphone. "You." The room went completely still. Iris's confident expression disappeared. For once, she had no sharp reply. I began playing. The song was not about betrayal. It was not about proving Lena wrong or watching Adrian fall. It was about the first time someone heard a broken voice and did not ask it to become smooth. Iris sang the opening line. After the concert, she found me behind the curtain. "You could have warned me." "You would have rewritten the lyrics." "They needed work." "They were perfect." That is an irresponsible thing to say to a songwriter. She was trying to hide a smile. I reached for her hand. Unlike the night Lena walked away, there were no cameras waiting. No prize. No famous family offering us a larger future. Only a piano cooling beneath the stage lights and rain striking the theater roof. Iris looked at our hands. "Is this another project?" "No." "Revenge?" "No." "Then what is it?" This time, I did not need 4 years to answer. "A choice." She squeezed my hand. The night Lena became famous, I believed she had taken my future with her. She had not. She had only taken the version of my future built around keeping someone else from leaving. Lena eventually learned to sing without my songs. I learned to write without waiting for her approval. And the person who once begged me to remain in the background finally understood the hardest truth of all. By the time she asked me to come back, I was no longer standing where she had left me.